Review of what your next quiz is going to look like. In order to add or subtract, what do we have to have? Like terms. So if you have like terms, that means if the variable parts are the same, then we can add or subtract just by combining the coefficients. So 15 plus 4 gives us 19, and we still have the a to the fifth b squared. The variable doesn't change when you add or subtract. So on number 2, we have to look and see which ones we could combine. So which ones are like terms? Right. Both of those have an m to the first power. So we can put those together. So -7 plus -3 is -10. The m doesn't change. -m squared plus 4m squared would be what?
M squared.
This is just like a -1 plus 4, so positive 3. M squared. Number 3. If we are multiplying like this, what do we do with our exponents? Add. So this would become x to the 14th power. Number 4, if we're multiplying, we multiply the numbers. So -5 times -6, positive 30. And then with the variables, we add the exponents. So we have 8p's here and 2p's there, so altogether 10. Right. Number 5. When there is a power to a power, what do you do with those exponents? Multiply. So this becomes m to the, oh sorry, that's an 8. 8 times 5, so 40. And the last one. So this is 3p to the 7th, all to the 4th power. So we have to take that 4th power to both parts. So what is 3 to the 4th? 1. And then it would be p to the 28. Multiply those powers. Okay, so we know if we are multiplying. If I said like x to the 6th times x squared, what do we do with those exponents? Add them. So if I gave you x to the 6th divided by x squared, what do you think we would do? Subtract. What this means, it's like 6 x's multiplied together on top and 2 of them on the bottom. So 2 cancel out, and how many x's are we left with? 4. So when we are dividing, our quotient rule says we keep the x, that doesn't go away, but for the exponent, it'll be a minus b. We just subtract. Right, so number 1, x to the 5th divided by x to the 3rd. What would that be? X to the 2nd. 5 minus 3 is 2. If I go to, let's go to number 3. M to the 3rd divided by m to the 3rd. What is 3 minus 3? Okay, what is anything to the 0 power? It's actually a 1. Another way to think about this, it's just the same thing on top and bottom, right? What's 5 divided by 5? 1. 10 divided by 10 is 1. So anything divided by itself is 1. Alright, let's go to number 4. So since we have 2 variables, we basically work with each of them. So if I look at my a's, a to the 6th divided by a squared would be a to the 4th. And then we look at our b's. B to the 4th divided by b to the 3rd would be b to the 1st. And you can write that 1, but if you don't, it's assumed to be a 1. What about number 6? Can you guys tell me what that would be? X to the 15. Y. What's going to happen to my y? Yeah, you could also just say if it's the exact same thing, it cancels out. It's a y to the 0, which is 1. Or you could drop your y. Z to the 2nd divided by z. Just z to the 1st. Okay. Any questions so far on this? Okay. So now let's start adding other pieces in. If I give you coefficients, so just like when we were multiplying, if we had numbers in front, we went ahead and multiplied those. If we have numbers with these coefficients, we'll just go ahead and divide them. So if I look at, let's do number 8. So we're essentially combining like parts. So for my coefficients, 14 divided by 7 is 2. Okay, then we look at our r's. R squared divided by r will be r. We look at our s's. S squared divided by s is s. Now what about on number 9? Why don't you guys take a second and do that one for me? And if you get done, you could try number 11. So negative 36 divided by 4. What happens to the c's? They cancel because it's the exact same. And then d, you subtract. 5 minus 3 is 2. All right, 11. So your numbers, if you divide 4 divided by 8, what does that give you? 0.5, or if you wrote it as a fraction, 1/2. It doesn't really matter. I typically stick with fractions, but you're not wrong if you wrote 0.5. So it's 1/2, and then it would be into the what? Into the 5th divided by n. That's just like a 1. So if you subtract, 5 minus 1 is 4. So 1/2 into the 4. Let's look at number 12. So those coefficients, 36 divided by 54. Use your calculator. Tell me what that would be as a fraction in lowest terms. So 36, it's 0.6 repeating. Hit math number 1. Turn that into a fraction. 2 over 3. Okay, so we have a 2/3. M. 9 minus 3 would be 6. And n to the 3rd. All right. Are we okay on the problems where we are just straight dividing? Okay. So from here on out, this handout just has a combination of things. So it's kind of reviewing some of our pieces from the past as well as what we did today, which is probably good because it's taken us, 3 weeks to get through what should have taken 3 days. So let's try some of these. We'll do 13 first. All right, what's different about this problem? What did I add into it that wasn't on? We have a parentheses. We have a square on the outside. So first we have to deal with that. So if I have 3x to the 5th squared, what's 3 squared? 9. And it would become x to the 10th, because a power to a power we multiply. And the bottom we didn't do anything to. Okay, so first we just dealt with that square on the top. Get your paper out. All right, now, what is 9 over 27? What's that reduced to? 1/3. Okay, x to the 10th over x to the 3rd. X to the 7th. All right, I want you guys to try a couple. Why don't you try 15 and 17. What do you do first on 15? The parentheses. So 4 squared is 16. This would become w to the 2nd and b to the 2nd. So 12 over 16, what does that reduce to? 3 over 4. Okay, you have 9, w to the 9th over w squared, so that would be w to the, and b to the, alright, is that one okay? 17. What did I change on this one? Yeah, the parentheses is for the whole thing. So we have a couple different options for how to proceed. You guys can pick, you'll get the same answer either way. So we can either start out cubing everything, or we can work inside the parentheses and try to reduce some of that first, and then cube at the end. What do you guys want to do? The first one, just start cubing everything? Okay. So 2 to the 3rd, m to the, n to the, and then on the bottom, 4 to the 3rd. M to the, n to the, right, 8 over 64, what does that reduce to? And it would be m to the, n to the. All right. Any questions there? I'm going to do 3 to 4 more examples, and then I'll stop. I'm going to go to 21. What would we do first on 21? The parentheses. Those two parentheses are telling us we need to multiply. So, when we multiply, 2 times 3 is 6. P to the 1st times p to the 2nd would be p to the 3rd. Q to the 1st times q to the 4th is q to the 5th. is 6 divided by negative 6? Negative 1. P to the third divided by P. In the second, and what happens to our Q's? They drop out. And you could also just write this as negative P to the second. Either one is fine. All right. Is that one okay? Let's go down to, I want to look at, let's do 25. Take a second, and I want you guys to simplify just this part of it to start with. So take a second, simplify that first part for me. So if you multiply 8 times negative 3 is negative 24. C times C to the fourth. So C to the first times C to the fourth would be C to the fifth. D to the third. And we still have this other piece. So now what do we do? We're looking at this, negative, divide. Negative 24 divided by 6. C to the D to the. What do you notice about these? They're the same. So we can subtract. Negative 4 minus 9 is negative 13. Alright, so that one involved a combination. A little bit of everything. Do we need more practice with this? Okay. So that's our